We're now joined by Ladbrokes ambassador and former Ireland international Kevin Doyle. Kevin, how's the form? How are you keeping?
I'm good, David. Yeah, enjoyed watching those few games over the last week. Some great
Yeah,
football now.
there was an awful lot of football on last weekend, midweek. And if we start with the women's national team, a great result away to Sweden.
Yeah, beating you know, probably the best team in the world in women's football. So away from home, or not beating them, sorry, drawn with them. Probably felt like a win. They maybe could have held on and won it. But from a result point of view, confidence, massive confidence boost. Still in a chance of qualifying. Still second place and going into a playoff possibility. So it should give them massive confidence with those few games left. I think it's sort of the first massive result against a real top team away from home. So hopefully, he can build on it.
It is because a few new players were starting for the first time and obviously coming into the squad. So when you get a result like that away against the likes of Sweden, it really kind of gels the team, and hopefully now they can capitalise on that going forward. Looking back last night, if we start with you had obviously had City away to Atletico. A lot of people chatting about the dark side of football, the tactics that go on and the time wasting and all that. And Atletico, as we know over the years, are renowned for that. But it's fair to say City were kind of doing an element of that last night, trying to, I suppose, time
Yeah.
wasting, get the result. How did you see it? How did you see where City play acting, where Atletico play acting, or is that what you expect at that
Yeah.
level?
Listen, it's a massive game and it's really close tie going into it. They were 1-0 up, obviously, City. It's just the way it is. That's football. That's professional sport. You do what it takes to win. City, I suppose people aren't used to seeing them maybe as professional in their time wasting or whatever. Used to expecting it from Atletico Madrid, and I don't nothing wrong with it. I prefer to be watching a team. Listen, going out. I prefer to be watching the Liverpool Benfica game end to end, loads of goals. But there's that side to football and sport too, and it has to be done in certain games, certain circumstances. Massive pressure. You have to get a win, and you do what it takes to do that. And listen, some people really enjoy that side of it and enjoy those sort of games. And it can't all be perfect football. It can't all be end to end. It can't all be brilliant. It can't be all Man City, passing the team to death and scoring fabulous goals. They have to play like that. It'd give you a bit more faith, me anyway, and Man City maybe win the Champions League this year, because it was against not their principles, but you don't usually see a Pep team sort of playing like that. And that's what I think they had to do, and you saw it drove Atletico wrong. They're not used to teams doing it as much against them as they're used to being the ones play acting and time wasting and just unsettling the game. And when they had to come out and get a result at home, when the other team was doing it, it really frustrated them. So no problem with it. It's just another tactic and a way to win a game, and you enjoy that sometimes as well.
Yeah, again, from a neutral perspective, it's a great watch. I'm not going to lie, it's brilliant. It's action packed, and is it something that footballers not practice is probably the wrong word, but is it something that they might think about? Did you ever think about, all right, I have to go down here and maybe hold the leg a bit to kind of kill a bit of time, or
Yeah,
is it something that maybe half time, right? We're going to see out this result, kick it long or into the corners,
yeah.
the elements of that.
Yeah, it's a tactic. It's not maybe going down injured, rolling around or pretending to, but time waste and take longer at throw-ins, lads. Talk to the referee after a foul or whatever it may be. Get everything to delay the game, frustrate the other team. That's all part of it. Especially in a game like that, if you're in this sort of situation, Man City or you're winning a game, it's all it's all part of
Yeah.
the sport. It's all part of all sport, not just football, but just highlighted in that game last night. But it's same in rugby, same in GA, same in everything. There's no rule against doing those things. It's trying to.
Sportsmanship is the
It's
word, isn't
yeah.
it?
Well, I suppose, but
Gamesmanship.
it's professional sport. It's your life and it's your job, and you are trying to win a game. And ideally, listen, you'd be winning 2-3-0, and you don't have to do that, but try go play Atletico Madrid away from home and the way they play and to frustrate them. That's a really, I would call it professional performance. And yeah, I don't listen. You don't want to see it every week. If I was
No.
watching Atletico every week, it feels like Atletico play a bit like that every week, and that it's their right to do it. But that would annoy me. But every now and again, in certain situations, yeah, and through my career, the same. Especially with Ireland, you're an underdog. Maybe playing with Ireland, you're playing some of the bigger teams. You're trying to frustrate good players, and you know when you're getting to them, you know when you're needling them a bit.
Well, you must have a story there. If you know you're getting to the, is it a
No,
whisper
I'm
indeed?
trying to think of one. I'm trying to think of one now off the back of my head. I can't. Nothing springing to mind. We like when thinking of different clubs in my career, was it an actual tactic? It would have been a tactic. I remember at Reading, especially we. It was a thing at Reading the season before I got there. They worked out if they hadn't conceded 5 minutes before half time, um, the season before, they would have won the league. And they finished just outside the playoffs. So the season I went there, that was our thing. The 5 minutes before half time, we went into sort of that lockdown mode, we called it, whatever it was. No quick throw-ins, no quick corners. The ball was out. Everything was, no one to go on a mad run. Everyone behind the ball, and don't concede in those 5 minutes. We ended up winning the league that year, but it's a sort of, can be used like that as well. It doesn't have to be the whole game. It's just moments. Listen, obviously the 90th minute is an obvious one. If you're winning the game, you're going to be down the lane. It's just, I suppose, last night it seemed to be a 90-minute thing instead of one a 5-minute thing or a 10-minute thing. And Atletico was the same the week before at when they were away from home against Man City. Theirs was a 90-minute thing. That's when it becomes a bit tough to watch. But it's an art and a skill as well, which it needs to be learned and practiced, actually.
Yeah, and like when you talk about rivalries, and obviously last night it's such a big game, it's so important. Like there is that natural rivalry in it, but maybe the more traditional sort of, if you look back to last week, the City Liverpool game, it's what a huge game it was. It was 2-2. How did you see that going? I can't remember what you actually said last week would be the result. I think you said
I
it
can't either, no.
was all.
I think I said Liverpool, if anyone, to win it, maybe. Loved that game, great game. Those two teams you're playing, totally different game to obviously last night. Both teams went for it, enjoyable to watch. They're both going for it. It's not a masterclass in defending, or for the purist or managers who like clean sheets. They both give up chances. They both press high, and when it works, it's brilliant. But obviously, it leaves you vulnerable sometimes to some speed and quick balls in behind, and that was the case in the game. But it leads to goals, and for everyone to watch, fabulous football, and for two teams who play like that to be top of the league, it's nice. It's nice. You listen, Jose Mourinho was a very successful manager for a long time, and it wasn't that type of football, and he was winning leagues. So that sort of rubs off on other clubs in this one. Play like, the best team in the league. Who's that? It was, say, Chelsea back in the day, play like Jose Mourinho, whereas now the best teams in the league are playing the best football, most exciting football. So hopefully it inspires the rest of the league. And I think it does. It rubs off on new managers coming through and players that you can play like this. You can play attacking, expansive football, high press, and win games. You don't have to sit behind the ball for 90 minutes and be in Atletico Madrid to win a league. So yeah, good to see those two. I'm a neutral. I'm not. I would listen if I decide one. I'd go with Liverpool. I really like Jurgen Klopp, and I think Liverpool play an even more exciting game to watch than Man City. But both good sides.
And again, like what a week, they played each other last week, then
Yeah.
you're into the Champions League, and then they're back now, FA Cup semi-final this coming weekend. Do you see much of a difference? They know each other very well. They've
Yeah.
played each other, and now within 7 days, they're at it again.
I think Liverpool had an easier Champions League week than Man City. They did, and they made a lot of changes last night. Liverpool rested players, took a little bit of a risk. I suppose not a calculated risk. They were 3-1 up or whatever it was going into it. So, and they won and went through. Whereas Man City had a tough game, 2 tough games, and didn't get to make changes like Liverpool. So you'd imagine they're a slight disadvantage going into the FA Cup game. I think it'll be a great game again. It just will be. But I would be more positive, or more like last week. I was just picking Liverpool. You pick one or the other. Whereas this week, I actually feel Liverpool might have that more of an advantage than they did in the league last week.
And the other game in that semi-final is obviously Chelsea and Palace. Chelsea, nobody expected them going to the Bernabeu and
Yeah.
putting the game on its head and going into extra time. So, after 2 defeats, I think in the league it was, to come back, turn that around. Probably unlucky, maybe not to see out the game in 90 minutes.
They won the weekend 6-0 against was it Brentford? No, Southampton. Southampton, they beat 6-0, so they did come into it off a good result. I think actually Chelsea will be on a downer. They should have won the game. They were really good for 90 minutes. They threw it away, gave it away. I don't know, some red people saying bottled it, whatever you want to call it. They went there and they had the chances. and they were going through until the 88th minute. Fabulous ball from Modric. I think they'll be thinking we threw that one away. Real Madrid were there for the taking. They were really poor in normal time. They were brilliant in extra time and brilliant in the first leg. But Chelsea were great for 90 minutes, but didn't go through. So I think they'll be on a bit of a downer going into this one. Crystal Palace have had a decent season. I think this will be close. Going for the non-obvious one, I think Crystal Palace might sneak a win in this.
Now it's time for 1-2 free bet. Your chance to win €100 cash absolutely free. All you have to do is predict the scores of 3 of these weekend's matches, should I say? Matches. Kevin, what are your 1-2 free predictions for this weekend? We're going to go with the 3 matches, which we've touched on already. Manchester City versus Liverpool in the Cup. How do you see that going? And give us a score.
I just think Liverpool had a slight advantage. Fresher legs, rested players during the week I did have an easier Champions League round. So Man City, really tough battled performance away to Atletico, I think might give Liverpool slight advantage. I go for a 2-1 to Liverpool.
2-1 to the Pool. Okay, and then we're moving on to Newcastle United against Leicester City. Newcastle at
home. Home win, Newcastle. Club sort of good positive vibes around them. Form is a little bit up and down, but really well, really, in fairness, in comparison to where they were 3 or 4 months ago. I'll go for a home win to Newcastle. Seen them being linked with all sorts of players. There must be a good buzz around that club with new ownership and plenty of money and everything coming into the end of the season, and they're safe now, so are pretty much safe. So I go for a home win, Newcastle 2-0.
Okay, and finally, Chelsea versus Palace in the Cup.
I'm going to go for an upset here. Palace to beat Chelsea in the Cup. They're having a probably better season than most expected. Crystal Palace. I'm going for Palace to beat Chelsea. I just think Chelsea will be on a real downer. I think they threw that semi-final away after such a good performance to not go through. I think they'll be really disappointed. So I'm going to go for a Palace win. Let me see. I'll go Palace. I'll go for a 1-0. Palace.
1-0. Excellent. All right, Kevin, thank you for your time. And remember, if you are having a bet this weekend on anything, please gamble responsibly and visit gamblecare.ie for more information. We'll be back next week for more of the build-up brought to you by Ladbrokes.